In the 2024 NFL Draft, the Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams, the second pick in the 2024 NFL Draft. The Washington Commanders select Jayden Daniels.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and most specifically our Burgundy Ballers, welcome back to another episode, another predictions and previews episode here on the Ballin and Burgundy podcast. Yeah, just myself rocking with the BIB fellows. Everyone else is in school or working. But I got the guy, Mr. Burgundy and Gold Report himself, the one and only Adam. Aniba, Adam, my guy, what's going on?
What's going on, man? That trade deadline's approaching. Just hope, Adam Peters, even a mid-level move because, if they can beat Chicago, go to 6-2, man. I think that's when you really start talking about, with winning the division, winning a second, winning a first playoff, game. So we'll see, man. It's exciting time.
Hey, we'll see. Bears, Commanders, JAYDEN'S injuries, trade deadlines. We'll get into some of this. Guys, I need y'all to do a few things. Hit like and subscribe here on the channel, here on YouTube. We're on the road to 500 subscribers. We are nearly 100 away. So it's absolutely free. It takes 2 seconds of your time and it helps us up tremendously here on the channel. Instagram, TikTok, at Ballin and Burgundy Podcast. Twitter, at BIB Podcast 22, because Twitter hates long usernames. And go follow Adam, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media links out in the description at the Burgundy and Gold Report, or Instagram at the Burgundy and Gold Report 42. Go follow them. If you guys have followed us through the draft cycle, the two of us and really just the two channels and the two groups did all the draft prospects, as many as we could, and I'm continuing and looking forward to this next draft cycle because boy are there some players.
For sure, man. For sure.
Man. But let's get started. I flexed to 425, unlike the non-existent muscles I have. Bears, Commanders, potentially Caleb versus Jayden, or it could be another Heisman versus Heisman, Caleb versus Marcus, however you want to look at it. I'm excited. Rocking the battle black uniforms, unlike last year where we got absolutely demolished at home. But new era, new regime, new QB, I don't want to say dominant defense because our secondary could use some help, but that front seven, primarily Luvu and Wagner, and we're getting the boy Jordan McGee back. Oh, man, am I excited.
See, the hope is if you can get McGee and Wagner in, then you can put Luvu, rushing off the edge where, he did a lot of that in Carolina. That's where, he wreaked a lot of havoc. So, other than that, I want to see Newton's maturation continues because when he gets it, I'm telling you, he's going to be the best defensive lineman on this team by far. Because I still think it was an absolute steal to get him in the second round.
Oh, it was an absolute steal. And I don't want to say it helps with John Allen being hurt because I don't want injuries to happen. We don't wish injuries to happen. But Mathis is going to show out. Newton's going to show out. Dante Fowler stepped up last week with a pick six and a sack and just looking like what we hoped for. And I talk with Dallas fans a lot, especially Cam fans. Shout out to the boys. They're like, we wanted to keep him. And I'm like, I'm not complaining with 4.5 sacks, an interception, a few forced fumbles. I'm not complaining. So we're getting pieces there. Armstrong looking good. Payne could use a little bit of work. I don't know if it's because he's used to Allen or maybe he looks better without him because now he's the number one. But this defense is slowly shaping into a dominant front seven. It's just the back five outside of really the safeties. So really the corners. Boy, I am not excited for that matchup.
Yeah, no, it's definitely going to be a tough matchup. They have some issues coming into the game though, Chicago. Yeah. But I keep hearing a lot of people all week. They say they played powder teams. They played bad teams, but right now they're 5th overall in yards, 4th in points, and they're 11th against the run. So they have their work cut out for them. And one thing we've seen about Caleb Williams, I think with Jayden Daniels, you've seen him look like he's definitely following that Kingsbury script. We have to go off script. He still improvises, but he still looks smooth. With Williams, you've seen him get better and better every week, and he's pulling like some shit out his ass. It's not the same what Jayden's doing. Jayden's just getting yards. He's just getting big chunk yards, making defenses look stupid. But Williams just, he's covering up a lot of the issues with his team right now, just by making these plays. But I think with Washington, even though these receivers for Chicago are really good, I think you can't sit back. They're gonna see a hell of a lot of man. I know that, but I think they really have to. He's still a rookie. And Kingsbury coached him. You know what I mean? So he definitely knows tendencies. It's not that far removed from when he was with him. So I definitely think that Kingsbury will be able to help with some scheming. They say they're talking about both sides all the time. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll definitely see. I think injuries going into this game, because there are a lot on both sides. I'll start with Chicago real quick. Like both Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon. I like Brisker a lot coming out of Penn State. They didn't practice. Mercedes Lewis, I think now he's like the oldest starting player. He's like 50 something, I swear.
Yeah.
Tight end, he didn't practice. Tyreek Stevenson, the kid out of Miami, Florida corner, was limited practice for the calf. But then you have a few different D linemen and running backs, kind of mixed in there. But on our side, Jaden Coleman and Cleveland Farrell didn't practice, and Farrell again didn't practice. This knee injury, I think I don't know if he's hiding something or they're trying to test him, but he's sat out, I think, 3 or 4 games, and we're going on to week 8.
He's going to get shut down. I'm saying the next 2 weeks we're going to. They're trying, I think, with rehab and work, but I don't think he's going to come back. And honestly, I was never a big fan of the acquisition. I knew there was familiarity with it. I like the other guys they brought, from Dallas, but I think there was really not much expected. But that's why I think you got to watch the deadline. There's a couple of names, they can't be, you can be happy with the guys you have, but they don't have depth. So, I think they should definitely be looking in the market. A couple teams, I think Tennessee, Cleveland are going to be looking to continue to move people because they know they're done already.
Yeah. I was looking at the CBS kind of reports because they were saying Max Crosby, Zadarius Smith was a name we were attached to. The Patriots, Josh Uche, who I think I won in the offseason. I think we kind of touch on it, like he wouldn't be a bad rotation guy.
Yeah.
Off the edge. And in the corner, we've been attached to every corner potentially. Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, Jonathan Jones, J.C. Horn. Like, I don't want to say that we're desperate because we kind of are desperate for corners, but I like Chickenmuseum on the practice squad over Michael Davis. I don't know why they're starting this man.
No, I agree.
But I got to start him. But like, I would trade, maybe a third for Newsome and a fifth. Like, try to balance out those whatever points, however they make those adjustments, or conditional 4 turn into a third if we make the divisional round. Then all right, maybe that makes sense because now we're deeper where we're gonna be. But I mean, we were talking about this before we hopped on. Cleveland's going to be in a fire sale. Tennessee might trade. Not Jeff Simmons. Who's the Harold Landry?
Landry, yeah, that's the big name we keep hearing connected to Washington. Yeah. But take it with a grain of salt. It's it's a lot of Twitter guys, not legitimate like news sites yet.
Yeah.
So but you touched upon a couple, but from Tennessee, I have an article coming out hopefully tonight. To Tennessee, Harold Landry you just mentioned it. Then, Traylon Burks, he's a guy I evaluated before they came in. There was a lot of talk about him being like the next Debo. And right now, like, he's one of those guys I think change of scenery can make a huge difference. I think last I saw it was like 35 yards on like 6 receptions or something that. So, and I think that, again, I evaluated his college tape, like behind the scenes, who knows, maybe not worth it, but I could see him being a good compliment because especially in the run game, that's one thing I loved about him coming up. He's a spur blocker. I think you can do different things with him, and I think he'd come relatively cheap. You mentioned Horn. He's the one guy I don't see because I don't think Carolina. They just drafted him. I don't think that they're gonna move on that quick. But Jonathan Jones and Denzel Ward. Those are the 2 guys I've really got my eyes on because I think those are the guys that can immediately challenge who you have starting. I think, other guys, that again, good rotation. But if Washington wins this game, we're talking about 6-2. They don't have the depth to go to the playoffs. Like if we have one more O-line injury, that could be devastating. Not the whole Coleman, the rotation 50-50, it's working. And I get that's why they don't change it. But now you're asking them to play full time. So that's a concern for me. And I think, the rest of the offensive line is playing, superb. We talk about Wiley. I hated him last year. And everyone is like, listen, it's a change of system. Me too. Yeah. They're saying like that shows you offensive linemen, just like a lot of positions, system matters. And he's thriving in it, honestly. So, but you can't afford another issue at left tackle, because they've got nobody. You know,
No.
they really have no. And then Jayden Daniels is just going to be dead meat. You know what I mean? Like I think he'll still end up playing. Though I think it's being hyped up because there's no reason for Washington to really push it. Like they wanted to see Friday, so why put him before Friday? So they're going to put him tomorrow.
Yep, or at least they're hoping to.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah,
and they'll see how he's doing. And I think ultimately he plays, but I think with Mariota, I think it'll be Chicago's game to win. But I think I can see a scenario where they can still win with Mariota because again, I talked about before, Kingsbury is the talk of the league right now. Every player that's gone against him said every week they've game plan for one thing and he does something totally different. Like we have not seen a coach for Washington like that, like you're talking about like Norv Turner going back offensive and innovative, different guys like that. But like Kingsbury is the new age offensive coordinator. You know what I mean? He's got head coaching experience, college experience, one-on-one quarterback. Like he's got everything right now. So I think we got him a perfect time in his career with the perfect quarterback. I think he would have done good with Caleb Williams, but even Drake May. But I think Jayden Daniels fits exactly what he wants to do because out of all these guys, he's the most advanced as a passer. I keep hearing this college offense crap. It's not one read college offense though. It's multiple reads, and he's still missing stuff, but no, he's making big chunk plays all the time. It's been a while, Kirk Cousins days, like RG3, in that first year, Brad Johnson, like there's not many of them in Washington. They, have that ability to get you chunk yards and just move down the field effortlessly. And I think they're number one in the NFL right now. I might be wrong with it. Depends after the games tonight, but last I checked, I thought they were with total yard. They were number one or top three.
In terms of points scored, we're tied with Baltimore 218. I think we're, if not number one, we're in that top three of total yards and yards per game. Which is nuts to say.
It's from bottom of the NFL to top now. That's
like
crazy.
that.
And everyone's like I said, I was like, if they get Jayden Daniels, I can see a Texas turnaround. That's what I said. The way the Texans they build on the defense too. But I think that Washington fans got mad that they weren't more aggressive. But I think they got the guys they're familiar with, and it's paying off.
It is. It definitely is. And his connections with Terry keeps getting better and better. His connection with Diame and Noah Brown. Terry's sitting at 454 and 4 touchdowns. He was 2 yards away last game from 100. So I wish we could have gotten him a receiver screen or something just to pick those two up. Because it goes 120, 55, 100, 98. I'm like, why? A little inconsistency. Right. But when you're passing it to Zach Ertz and send it for a touchdown on Mariota's behalf, you're throwing it to Noah Brown in tight spots, and he's, for the most part, coming down with the more contested catches, but Terry's leading the league in that right now. Diame on the long go routes in the streaks. He has, I think, 2 or 3 touchdowns this season on just those alone.
Right.
And then we're running the ball. McNichols, Eckler, Robinson, Jaden. Mariota, I think, ran for probably, I think it was 35 or 40 yards last week. And I'm like, he hasn't been mobile since Tennessee.
Bad. Like when I was saying on the show, I was on bad defense. Carolina is a bad defense. But you see the difference. You see, what did he do? 2 touchdowns, 2 tight ends. Jayden Daniels, you got to remember, it's going back a long time. I think Arizona State was the last time he had a go-to tight end. He just is not used to focus on a tight end. And once he does, and Senate gets him on, because Senate's my guy, we're already seeing, my other guy, Sainristil, killing it. So I think once they keep getting, him the ball, and he just keeps getting better, getting him in the game. And like I said, there was that side eye where he was playing that fullback role, and they had him go in the flat. So I think the more you have him in the game, the more creative you can be. But Jayden Daniels, everyone says, I've heard people say, they should sit him, whatever. It's a rib injury. This is something it's about pain tolerance. If you've ever had a rib injury, it's unless it's broken, but even a bruise can feel like it's broken. Like your whole core, you want to feel like you want to fall on the ground. Yeah. But it's all about his pain tolerance, and sitting. I think this is a big game. And it is. That's why I'm saying I think the size of it, that's why it would shock me if he doesn't, at least if it's bothering him a lot, take a shot, put a bigger flak jacket and play. Because Mariota, he made some plays. That's a bad Carolina defense. It's really bad. This Bears defense is not gonna, Montez Sweat, listen, come on. Carolina had nobody like him, so I don't know.
Well,
I think
they,
you got to
they
go.
didn't have anybody healthy. I think Derek Brown was out, and they obviously traded Brian Burns. So
Like you lean on the run. Like that's what I
yeah,
want to see. It doesn't matter who's there because this, the 11th, like I said, 11th ranked against the rush right now against some not good offenses. But I think with Robinson sounds like he's getting more healthy, and we're
yep,
seeing the contributions from the other guys. Eckler. I think this is a game Eckler's going to really get going. I really do. That's one thing for the first time I haven't been confident, but Eckler and Robinson, I think they're going to get going in this game, and they're just going to keep doing it because I think even if Daniels plays, you're not going to see the same kind of stuff he was doing. I think they're going to be more plays to protect him overall. They don't want him running. They
no,
don't want him running yet until he's closer to 100%.
yeah. I mean, because I've seen the photos, I've seen the videos, the way he flipped and then landed, his knees are on the right, his hair was like over here. I'm like, oh, just looking at that made me hurt a little bit.
Yeah,
So
it's all the ligaments. It's not just the
yeah,
rib. It's all the I bet it's like a big bruise. Like I can just imagine. Like I've been
yeah,
hit there so hard with a helmet, like so hard, and that hurt me for like 8 months. you
yeah,
know, but I'm not this caliber of athlete. So, or did then we didn't get the kind of like pampering technology that they get now. So,
right, yeah. I mean, if it's super like they pulled him out pretty quickly too. It wasn't like, oh, we'll give him another like few drives. They were like, no, you come over here. Like
more
he was upset, and like Mariota didn't do great the first drive. He went over 4, and then he was like, all right, I'm good now. 18 of 19. I was like, competency. Who are we?
yep. I think with Mariota, like with Atlanta, he didn't click with anybody over there. He didn't want, and everyone's just like, it was all on him. And yeah, he didn't do a lot of the right stuff over there, but I think he got back with like guys he trusted, like, what's his name? Philadelphia. I'm blanking on his name, but that guy's been a big influence for a long time. Like when he was in Philly, I think he got a lot better mentally as a quarterback. He hasn't improved much as far as a passer. He hasn't,
Right.
that's what I was saying. His functionality, like everything. I think Kingsbury was really just pulling out like the best plays. Like I
Yeah.
really do. He was like, all right, this is what he can do. Let's do it. And I think the benefit of Mariota playing against Chicago, I do think they will run him a little bit. I think they will get him out some design runs. Jayden Daniels, I don't see it. I don't see them doing it. So, but I still want to see Daniels play. I don't want Mariota, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I definitely don't want him to, obviously play injured. I want him to be 100%. But if he's at like 95, I'd say you could try it. But if he takes another hard leg or he flips, I'm like, no, you got to come out this drive. We ain't.
You don't want to lose him for multiple games.
Exactly.
That's the thing. Because then they can go backwards real quick. Because if you look at the schedule coming up, like if he doesn't play this game, it really plays in their favor the next couple of weeks. To get into 8 or 9 wins pretty damn quickly. So
yeah.
It's a long-term thing,
It is.
It's a marathon.
It's definitely a marathon. But you brought up Sainristil earlier, and I don't know if you've seen the photos, but him talking with Darrell Green and Champ Bailey last game during the retirement, and it's just seeing. And I was talking with Lake Lewis Jr. Back on week 1, and I did an interview with him recently. You'll see legends talking with him. You see Kerrigan as an assistant coach. You saw. Not Riggins, but Theismann keep talking about Jayden like, no, he's legit. You see Jay Gruden, as much as we all despise him, he's every week, O-line's playing good. Look at Jayden complete this
from everywhere.
Yeah.
Right.
The McAfee show with AP Shipley every week is like, Washington's O-line's playing good. Look at these guys move the ball. It's like, I can't remember a time, even during the RG3 days, with like every week, even if in a loss, they're like, no, he played well here. Defense just gave it up. Oh, no, Jayden completed this massive yardage. Defense let him down a little bit. It's like, am I feeling okay?
These guys are a lot more. This is more of a humble group, really talented. Like RG3, he didn't care what Doug Williams had to say, and that was one of his huge problems.
Yeah,
Jayden Daniels, he's a lot more advanced. Like that's the benefit of getting a quarterback that played in college football for so long. Usually, you don't see it. Like we're gonna see it next year. I wrote about it, but didn't publish it 2 times now. Was Ward? Now he's at Miami. Was it 9th year senior, whatever he is now? He's gonna get drafted probably. I could see late first, early second. People talking about top 10. That's ridiculous, but
not quite.
But I think he's a guy that comes in similar, to Daniels with a lot of experience. You can throw a lot at him as far as a passer. and I think we're going to see more, not this many years in college, but with the NILs, I think you're going to see guys play, at least 4 years. You know what I mean? 5 years maybe, but yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it's like Cam Rising. He's going into his 9th year with like his 5th redshirt season. I'm like, dude, just leave.
Yeah.
Quit, because he's in his 9th year. There's a tight end going on his 8th, and I think at Miami or something. But then you look at Grayson McCall, the Coastal Carolina QB now at NC State. He announced his retirement Wednesday night, when this obviously, because this will go out Friday, because he said no, it's injuries, mainly concussions. I'm like, you're 23. Even let's say you're making $10,000 a month off NIL, just on the low end, because NC State is a good school, but it's not going to be
it's not the big money.
It's not a big money, but he's saying because he said, I want to live life. I can't play this anymore. I don't think I would have been able to do that. And I'm 22. I've been like, I want to get this another shot. He said, I've done all I can. I'd rather not risk this.
And speaking with, from people, I've known a couple guys, and one thing you don't think about is insurance, and they lose it right away. Like there's it's like, okay, here's your Cobra, $850 a month to a college student. They did that to my friend. He was there for 3 years in Virginia, and then they were like, yeah, here, and it was just like, busted his butt, got on the San Diego Chargers practice squad, but was out of the league within 3 years. Again, no insurance. No insurance, no lifetime benefits. So even when you get to the NFL, you get to the big show, it's hard, man. But these NIL deals, they're going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, though. I just started that cornerback Williams, blanking his name. I interviewed him, and he got drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 4th round. He came from HBCU school, and he was just getting NILs from like local little places. Yeah. So it's like, even the ones that don't get the millions, they're getting enough to,
be good.
To unless they're talking about, 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round. That's why some of them are, more inclined to stay another year or two if they can continue to get that NIL. And I don't blame them, especially if, like a lot of them, they do want to get the education, they do want to get a degree, and some of them stay and get an extra degree,
Right.
It's interesting.
It's something interesting. It's something, because when I hear, 8th year, starter, I'm like, how I get master degrees are 8 years. How do you have eligibility left?
Like, I don't know if you're old enough. Like, I don't think you are, but there was this movie. It was with Scott Bakula, and it was called Necessary Roughness. And the whole story was that he was like a 34-year-old quarterback that they got off the street to play. And I'm like, that's not even fantasy anymore. Like,
it's not.
You know what I mean? It's wild. It's wild.
It's crazy. And NIL is not going to get any easier. There was one trade that has been circulating, then I will start wrapping things up. Because it's another name we're attached to, and Rio's talked about it, Josh did, I've talked about it on Twitter because I run our account, is T. Higgins. FanDuel said T. Higgins for a 2nd, a 3rd, and Emmanuel Forbes. Someone was saying, you'd be dumb to take. I'm not taking that trade. That is too much for a free agent and another player.
I do a 3rd, Forbes, and a conditional 3rd next year. That's what that's as far as I would go. So you still got to pay him.
Yeah.
So you're going to have Terry and Terry's going to come up with a year or so. You're going to have 2 guys like that. That's the thing. And that's why I'm looking more at the lower market. That's why I mentioned, guys like Traylon Burks, what I mean? Because I think those make more sense. I think T. Higgins, they're going to float that. But yeah, Cincinnati's going to want to fleece anybody. And I think that their season is still, even though people are like, they're already out, whatever. I don't think that's how they look at it. So I don't see him going anywhere.
No, that's a team that is going to try and trade for. It won't be trade away.
Right.
But yeah,
Washington makes more sense upgrading defense to me, though. It'd be great to have another guy, but deep. The article I have coming out, I think 4 out of the 5 are defensive players. Quarterbacks, pass rushers, like that's what they need. Because they're making plays now, but an injury, Fowler gets hurt, another injury here, there. They really have no depth on this team. So
yeah. So, yeah. And obviously, you've been on before, so you know kind of where I'm going with wrapping things up. Score predictions is kind of our bread and butter when it's not in mock draft season. Last week, I said something to the tune of like 31-20, and it turned into 40-7. So I am being humbly told wrong, and I'm all here for it. So I'm going to let you give you kind of your general score prediction of where you think this game's gonna go.
Yeah, I'm trying to get it because I don't want to be like all over the place. Like me,
All
Doug,
good.
and all the guys. We do our weekly thing with Mark Bullock and all those guys.
Yeah.
We just pick it. We pick our pick. I'm just trying to see what I said, and I had it at. Sorry to make you wait here.
All good. All good.
As I don't know why I can't find it now, but I think I had it 30-23. So in that round, and I still, like I said, I have that saying that Washington is Daniels is going to start for Washington.
Yeah.
Mariota, I think it'll be really close if they play in Chicago. Would probably pull it out if it's Mariota. But yeah, 30-23. I think if Jaden Daniels plays, they're gonna let him, make plays from the pocket a lot. And I think that, we'll see the tight ends of the Senate. I think they'll see him get more involved. So I can see them pulling it out. Even with Daniels comes in at 75, 80%. Like I said, you just don't want to see him getting hits. Coleman looks like he's out. So
Yeah.
that's got to be a consideration. They have to consider that.
Yeah. Coleman, because I'm glad they're taking concussions with seriousness, because some teams are like, you good? All right, get back out there. Like
Right.
they love to do that with Tua and Josh Allen for no reason.
Yeah.
But I would rather Coleman sit down and say, hey, I can't, it's not worth it, than put him out and now he's gone for the rest of the year kind of thing. Because some teams would do that. I like that 30-23. I'm gonna raise you 34-28.
I like that too.
I think it'll come close, but something about these big Terry shots down the field, if Jayden can get him, open on Jalen Johnson, or if Brisker and Gordon don't play, they can get him on the third or fourth string DB who's not going to get that contested ball. Terry puts you right on the 5. You can just run it 3 times and you'll probably make it in. If not, just throw it to Trent Scott or whatever receivers in again.
Yeah, this is a game. Again, I said before, I want to just get the run game going to a lot of, because they're going to try to take Terry out early on. He's going to be a big part of their game plan, and I think that's why Eckler and Robinson. I just think you just pound them early on, set up your play action. Look in your flats. Take the big plays when they're there. But I think I think with Chicago's defense, watching them, I think you can pick them apart in the middle of the field, and that's why I think Ertz and Senate should eat. So but I can say with Kingsbury, he's been exposing weaknesses for every team so far. So Chicago, especially with Brisker, I think that's a big loss if he's out. But I think Washington can definitely pick them apart. Again, Washington's defense though is not going to stop them from scoring, so it's going to be a shootout.
Yeah, I expect DJ Moore to not put up 230, but I expect him to hit at least 100.
I think he's gonna have the best game out of all of them. I think Oduzze, I think they'll settle him down a little bit. But I think, not him. I think they're going to have trouble against him, unless they, because I think they're going to have to play a lot of man up. So, if they're going to try to shift coverage, they're going to open it up for the other guys. Even Cole Kmet, their tight end, they have a lot of ways to get you. So
they do, and they're all well worth it too. Keenan Allen, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift, and Cleveland, a whole host of vets to young ends, and I'm like, this is a team that was supposed to be really good, and they're struggling a little bit, but I'm excited for it. I hope our defense comes prepared. Offense, if Jayden plays, looks as well as I thought already through. Like, I didn't expect this offense just to pick up after week 1 like that. After week 2, because we could just get field goals against the Giants. So really week 3 to now, it just was a light bulb moment under Kingsbury. So I'm excited to see us play against a real defense, because Baltimore was a really good test, and then it was just a practice scrimmage against the Panthers.
Right. And when you said the kicker, like, exactly, we have the top kicker in the league, I think, now too.
I think he's 18 of 19, and he only missed the 1 because it was blocked
and no extra points. Missed.
And so
hey, man, it's going well. But like I was gonna say with Williams, I think you can hit him, and if you can get Caleb out of his game. I think personally, Daniels is tougher as far as I think he'll take more hits. He'll stand in there. Williams is going to try to run around a little more. I think Daniels will stand strong, but I think if, they can get in, if they can really get Louisville on the edge, it'll be key. Like we said, McGee can really, at least keep a lid on the run game. I think that'll allow Louisville to go on the edge. And if they do, man, he's my favorite player to watch on their defense. Like, like I'm American Australian, so anytime I see the Haka, I love it. So I grew up watching Australian rules games when it was New Zealand and Australia, and they always used to do that. And so on the Australian side, sitting with them, it'd be so intimidating. So like I love seeing him do that though.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. Love to see it. But guys, let's gonna start wrapping things up. Before I do wrap things up, prayers out to the Denver community. Prayers out to Josh Reynolds. Saw the news that he got shot.
Wow.
I'm gonna pull this up correctly so I don't mispronounce the.
This is the first time I'm hearing it. Wow.
Yeah, so earlier today, news reported that Broncos receiver Josh Reynolds was shot twice leaving a strip club. First of all, he had a strip club. That's neither here nor there. He was shot twice, one in the arm, one to the head. But first chapter per the Broncos, a statement was put out relatively fast. He was a victim of shooting on Friday, received treatment for minor injury, so he is okay. He is alive. He is okay. So prayers out to the Denver community, prayers out to the Reynolds family, because that could have been extremely scary. And for him to come out alive in this, great news to hear. So prayers out to them.
This is too many. Already.
I think it's the third one this season.
The third, I think. Yeah.
Him, Pearsall, who's just came back.
Yep.
Robinson, I think was 2 years ago.
3 years ago, but there was somebody else this year though too. Like a lesser known guy. I heard him in the beginning of training camp. Like it's wild. It's crazy, man. Like
it's nuts. And I could go on a whole tangent on gun control and guns. I'm not gonna get into that. That's a whole political thing. I try not to do that here. I'm gonna stay away from that. But prayers out to them, and then obviously prayers out. I've said this before through text, but just prayers out to you and your family. I know Heather's watching, smiling with you guys. So just prayers out. Keep it strong. Keep hugging your kids. Tomorrow is not guaranteed, but just keep them strong, and we got you here.
That's right, man. That's one day at a time. Just
1 day at a time.
Like life is precious. That's one thing you learn through all this is you see the world differently. So hopefully keep coming on shows and become a little more active. But it's just a process.
Yeah, man. But yeah, again, prayers out to you. Love for you. If you need anything, just let us know. Always welcome to have you on. You're always welcome to here. Love having you on. Love talking ball because we could talk for another hour.
Always.
But you and I both got live, so I'll wrap things up. But I said it earlier where you guys can find it, but where can the people find you across the socials?
Yeah, it's like you mentioned the Instagram. On the Instagram, there's my link tree. Same with Twitter. My link tree is on there. So, but the Burgundy and GoldReport.com, that's where it all begins, all ends. So, like I said, as the year goes by, write about a couple situations with Commanders, but mainly, all the effort really goes into, the draft evaluation, and the way they're going right now, definitely going to be in December sometime. But, look forward to getting, working with you guys and getting these prospect evaluations out, because I think there's some real talented players this year that can, really help Washington next year. I think that's the long-term plan. So if they don't make a trade, it's because, draft capital is key to guys like Peters. We saw him live with that in San Francisco. So I think it'll be, even, where our hopes, I've heard fans talk about Super Bowl. I don't go that crazy, but just to talk about playoffs, winning the division, that's excitement. So
I Super Bowl is high, but if division, I'm like, all right, not currently right now, 9 wins will win you the division as it currently stands.
It's just like a couple years when they won it last time. 9 wins will win you the division.
2020 all over again, but we'll not get into it. But guys, wrap things up. Go follow Adam on social. Also, just watch out for his articles. Go reread some of the past draft prospects. BurgundyGoldReport.com. Links in the description. Like and subscribe here on the channel. Road to 500 subscribers. We're almost there. We're about 100 or so away. Once we hit that benchmark, we're just going to keep going and see where this train takes us. Instagram and TikTok at Ballin and Burgundy Podcast. Twitter at BIB Podcast 22. If I'm watching the game live and up close, thoughts and going on Twitter, so you're going to want to stay tuned. Let's head into Sunday. Hopefully Jayden plays. If not, it's going to get a little scarier. Prayers out to the Denver community. Love for you, Adam. So let's get in here. Let's raise hell on Sunday, and don't forget to stay ballin'. We'll see y'all out there.
Easy, yes.